Hi everyone, welcome to my channel Srinivasa Biology Tutorials. For this section to discuss morphology of flowering plants in CRT chapter 5. Yeah, morphology of flowering plants. Okay, first, what is that morphology? Morphology means to study about external morphological characters. To discuss about as any that external characters of any organism. Any organism is called as morphology. Now, the wide range in the structure of higher plants will never fall to the fastate husk. So, in these higher plants, to complete they have changes depending upon the environmental conditions. Even though the angiosperms show such large diversity in external structure or morphology. You notice as any angiospermic plant, it shows as that great diversity. It shows a completely a great diversity. For example, you take as any one angiospermic plant here. In this angiospermic plant, it shows as any like a root, stem, leaves, fruits, flowers, everything. These are the completely the characters. These are the completely there are different characters. It shows as any angiosperm. Okay, and next they are all characterized by the presence of roots, stem, leaf, flowers, fruits. Here, this entire one plant to get produced as in a roots, and it produces as any that stem and leaves like, and to get forms as any flowers and to forms as any fruits also. These all characters to get produced as a one angiospermic plant. So it is called as a flowering plant. Now, in chapters 2 and chapter 3, we talked about the classification of plants based on the morphological and other characteristics. In the chapter 2, to discuss about as any that all morphological characters of any plants. Now, for any the successful attempt at classification and their understanding any higher plants or for the matter any living organism. So to easily to get understand about as any one particular organism to compensate to necessary for as any that morphological characters, we need known as any some standards or technical terms and the standard definitions are required. That is I say. Now we also need know about that in a possible the variations of the different parts found in the adaptations of the plants of their to environment, that is an adaptation to the various habits for the protection, for climbing and the storage of food, for the storage of food, etc. These are the in a complete the adaptations was takes place. For example, you take as in the hydrophytic plants, when the water availability is there, what happened? The total completely the leaves are to get modified like, and then xerophytic plants are there. The xerophytic plants to completely get modified like as any their fleshy leaves to get forms as in that fleshy leaves. Why? These are the complete their adaptations that depending upon the environmental conditions. Depending upon the environmental conditions. Now, if you pull out any their weed to you, they see that all of them have roots, stem, and leaves. For example, you take as in any one particular weed, it has a it has in a completely roots as present, stem is present, as well as leaves also to get present. Now, they may be the bearing flowers and fruits also. The plant to completely produce as what? Completely that flowers and fruits also to get formed. The underground part of the flowering plants root system is while the portion above the ground from that shoot system. Here in this underground part to get forms as in a root system, and above that in a underground to get form as what? Shoot system will be there present here. Now here first you talk about as any root. First you talk about as any, that is root. Here the root. The majority of the dicotyledon plants, the direct elongation of radicle to leads the formation of primary roots which grow inside the soil. See, any seeds sown on the soil, after a few days what happen? It is to produce as in two parts. One is radicle, another one is in a plumule. One is in a radicle, another one is in a plumule. Radicle leads formation of what? Primary root. It is formed as in a, that is primary root. The radicle to get forms as in a primary root which grows in the under the soil. It's grow as in a under the soil. Now it bears roots several order that are referred to as in a secondary, tertiary roots, etc. It is in a primary root, and these are the secondary roots, and here to get forms as in a tertiary roots, and here to get forms as in a root hairs. Here to get forms as in a root hairs also. Like, and the primary roots and its branches constitute the taproot system. It consists of what? Taproot system. See here, completely the root get appear as in the tap-like structure. It is to get complete appear as in a tap-like structure, that is in a taproot system. Now, as in the mustard plant, see they given as in here one picture that is in a mustard plant. It is in a completely root part, and it is completely in a shoot part. It is completely shoot part. And the shoot consists of what? Leaves as present, nodes and internodes, and leaves, and it is to get form as in a birds, fruits, flowers, everything is present on the mustard plant. Now, in monocotyledonous plants, the primary roots is short-lived to replace a large number of roots. Those roots originate from as in a base of the stem. It consists of as in a fibrous roots. For example, you take as in the monocotyledon plant. In this monocotyledon plant, here to get forms as a number of roots or bunch of roots are noticed at the lower node. These roots are called as in a completely fibrous roots. Is called as what? Fibrous roots. You see only in monocots. You notice it as in a only for monocots. So such kind of roots is called as what? Fibrous roots. Now, as seen that in a wheat plant, the best example is what? Wheat plant. They given as a figure in a 5.2b. Now, in some plants like as in grasses, monstera, and banyan tree, the roots arise from the parts of the plant other than to radicle and is called as an adventitious roots. In some plants, here, for example, in this grass, to get forms as an the entire the plant body to get arise as in some roots as present. These roots are called as in adventitious roots. These roots are called as adventitious roots. Example, you see that in a grass, monstera or banyan tree, these are the completely adventitious roots. For example, see that in a banyan tree, in this banyan tree, it has produced as any adventitious roots. Okay, like next, here the main function of root system is absorption of water and minerals from the soil, providing as a proper anchorage to the plant pots and storage of food for the growth regulators or plant growth regulators. Here the main function is what? Absorption of water and minerals from the soil and providing proper anchorage of the plant pots and storage reserve food materials and synthesis of they are plant growth regulators. So the major function of roots is what? To storage of food materials and encouragement of the plant pots and to absorption of water and minerals and to synthesis of plant growth regulators. Okay, like next, after here, what are the regions of roots? What are the regions of roots? See, you take as in one particular root, the root converted as in a apex by a thimble-like structure is called root cap. See, for example, it is in a complete root. In this complete root, the tip of the region, one thimble-like or one cap-like structure is present, that is called as a root cap. Thimble-like or cap-like structure is present, that cap is called as what? Root cap. It protects for the tendex apex of the root makes a way through the soil. For example, that entered the root to grow as an under the soil, right? In this soil, with a number of soil particles to get damaged to as in this enter the meristematic region. So in this enter the meristematic region to get protected by as any one cup-like structure is present. That cup-like structure is called as what? That is any root cap. Now, few millimeters above the root cap, his region is called as an meristematic activity. See here in this root cap, in that above region, they having as a few cells as present, that is called as an meristematic cells as present. That region is called as what? Region of meristematic activity, or that is called as a region of meristematic activity, because they are having a meristematic tissue is present. Now, the cells of this region is very small, thin walled, and within dense protoplasm is present. So, in this meristematic region, they are having as what? In this meristematic region, they are thin walled, and the cells they are occupied as they are protoplasm. They are occupied as protoplasm, and they repeatedly the cells the proximal the region under the rapid elongation, and the elongation and they are responsible for the growth of the root in that length. This region is called as any region of the elongation. Here in this meristematic cells, they get rapidly divided. When they divide, what happen? To automatically then increase their growth, the length will be increased as well as width also will be increased. So when that length and width are increased, that region responsible for as in that increase the length, that region is called as what? Elongation. See, in that region to completely the elongation was takes place, means the growth will be that takes place. How do the growth takes place? Here the completely the meristematic cells are rapidly to divide. So hence what happened? In the cells completely the rapidly divided, the length will be increased, it also increased. That region is called as an elongation. So elongated, yes, so elongated region. Now these cells of the elongation zone the gradually differentiated and mature. After in this region, what happened? In this region to complete to get mature, this region completely they get mature. That region is called as what? Region of maturation. Region of maturation. See, this zone the proximally to region to elongated on this zone is called as a region of maturation. In this region is called as what? Maturation zone. Now, from this region, some the epidermal cells are from the very fine the delicate thread-like structure is called as root heads. This root heads to absorption of water, minerals from the soil. See, in this root heads, very important here. Mostly in that root heads major function. Where is the root heads as present? They are present as in a completely epidermal cells. They are present as in a epidermal cells. In this epidermal cells region, in this root heads as present. Here from these regions, some the epidermal cells they are present. That thread-like epidermal cells they are called as in a root heads. That root heads major function is to absorption of water, minerals from the soil. Okay, these are the completely in the root. Next, the stem. Next, we discuss the stem. What are the features this differentiate a stem from the root? Mostly the root how to differ for as in a stem. The stem is the ascending part of the axis bearing as in a branches, leaves, flowers, fruits. See here, the root to get forms as any the primary roots and secondary roots. In that above region to get forms as what? Here, shoot is produced, stem, branches, leaves, flowers, fruits, everything to get produced. Everything here to get produced. This region is called as what? Stem. In the stem consists of what? The stem mostly consists of as any their nodes and internodes also present. It consists of as any nodes and internodes also to get present. Now, it developed from the plumule of embryo is germinating seed The stem bears nodes and internodes. So here completely the seed to get developed into as a plumule, the plumule to get forms as a stem. In the stem consists of what? Nodes and internodes as produced. The region of the stem where leaves are born called as in a nodes and internodes as in a portion between as in a two nodes. Here each node region they are compulsory to get develops as what? Leaves as present. Leaves is present here. Now the stem bears bud which may be their terminal or axillary. The stem is generally the green. In young, lateral wood becomes woody as dark brown. Basically, that stem in that young stage has a green in color, and then after development to get forms as what? To get woody, to get appear as in bark, completely dark brown color. The major function of the stem that spreading out branches bearing the leaves, flowers, fruits. Like here, mostly the stem to get produced as what? Their leaves as produce, flowers, fruits, everything. And the what is the major function of the stem? The stem it conduct water, minerals, and photosynthesis in stem in some stems to provide as a function like a storage of food materials to give as a mechanical support and protection and vegetative propagation. For example, you see as in a some storage root. You see as in a stem tuber potato. Potato it is in a storage of food and support in some weak stems like as in a their pea plant. They help to as in a climbing and protection. Some in a that cactus to get forms as in a cladophylls to get help for as in protection and vegetative propagation. So like as in a their bulbils to get help for as in a vegetative propagation. For this is a incompletely total information about that in a stem. Okay, remaining to discuss in next class. Thank you for watching.